from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. Welcome to the National News broadcast coming to you live from the National News Studios here at Rupavahini. I'm Kasini Balachandra. Joining me is Lakshita Edirisingha. Here are your top stories for the night.
Monragala SSP has been arrested. Several political parties have made their deposits for the polls today as well. A group of international experts have requested the credit owners to assist payback loans of Sri Lanka. 200,000 hybrid eggs will be imported. Diesel donated by China will be distributed among the farmers from Monday. The group that illegally withdrew money from ATMs in Galle has been nabbed. Many places in Western Australia are under floods.
On to those and other stories in detail, starting off with the top story for tonight. Monragala SSP Sisila Kumara has been arrested by the police STF in connection with having some cannabis plants and several equipment that are used for treasure hunting.
The police headquarters say that the CID conducts further investigations under the guidance of the IGP.
This arrest was made following a lengthy investigation under information received by the STF commanding officer DIG Varuna Jayasundara. A group of STF officers have checked the suspect SSP while he was travelling in a private vehicle. At that time, the SSP had expressed his objection to the STF officials. However, later another team of STF officials had checked the official residence of the suspect SSP. The STF said that about 650 dried cannabis herbs have been found hidden in the ceiling of the residence. The STF has also questioned 3 youths who had stayed in that house. They have revealed about an incident of treasure hunting. These youths are residents of Monragala and Moratuwa areas. When the STF conducted further investigations, an underground metal detector, torches and several other appliances have been discovered. The driver of the SSP and the police sergeant deployed in the residence have also been taken into custody in connection with the incident. A team of CID officials had left for Monragala area for further investigations.
2 political parties and 33 independent groups have made their deposits for the local government polls in 4 districts so far. Several accepted political parties and independent groups made deposits today as well. Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna made the deposits for the Colombo district today. General Secretary of the party lawyer Sagara Karyavasam, Minister Dr. Banduru Gunawarthana and several party representatives for the district were present at this occasion at the Colombo district secretariat.
Minister Dr. Banduru Gunawarthana said that the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna has received nominations lists in earnest for these polls than the earlier election. Accordingly, the Pohotua party is the most organised group for the polls. The party has made deposits as the government has no idea to postpone the election. If the party didn't make the deposit, the opposition would say the party is evading the polls.
Nomination papers of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna for 17 local government bodies in the Kalutara district were signed today. District leader Rohita Abhay Gunawarthana and a group of party representatives were present at this occasion. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna placed their deposits today for the Puttlam district as well. General Secretary of the party, lawyer Sagara Karyavasam, State Minister Sanam Nishanta and some party representatives were present at the Puttlam district secretariat this morning. Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna also placed the deposits for 1 municipal council, 1 urban council and 19 Pradeshya Sabha in the Kurunegala district today. State Minister Shanta Bandara and parliamentarian Johnston Fernando and a number of party leaders were present at this occasion. National People's Power made their deposits for 12 local government bodies in the Hambantota district today at the Hambantota district secretariat. Archbishop's media spokesman Reverend Father Cyril Gamini requested all political parties to not feel corrupt candidates for the polls.
Archbishop's media spokesman Reverend Father Cyril Garminis said that our idea is that the election must be held because an election is the only opportunity for people to express their political will. We request the people to reject any candidates in any party if they feel that relevant candidates are corrupted.
Three interim petitions have been filed before the Supreme Court requesting to reject the writ application without the hearing filed by a retired Army Colonel W.M.R. Vijay Sundara, who had asked to issue an order to postpone the local government polls. These interim petitions were filed by the Executive Committee member of National People's Power, Attorney at Law Sunil Vatagala, National Organizer of the Socialist Youth Union Eranga Gunasekara, and Senior Lecturer Visakesa Chandrasekaram respectively.
Commissioner General of Elections Saman Sri Ratnayaka said that all relevant circulars have been issued to relevant ministries to prevent misusing the resources and manpower of these local government bodies for the upcoming polls. Accordingly, the officers who run these local government bodies are responsible for this issue. Usually, we stop transfers of public servants prior to the polls. However, there is no objection to conduct annual transfers. Parliamentarian Dilan Pereira says that Nidahasa Janata Sabhava party will reveal within the next 48 hours whether the party will contest the election in alliance with another political party. He made these comments at a press briefing held in Colombo today. Parliamentarian Dilan Pereira said that the new party's aim is to stop fraud and corruption. The Nidahasa Janata Sabhava has conducted negotiations with other parties on how to contest the election. The party states that they will be able to mediate to build the local government rule that is expected by the people.
Chairman of the Magen Ratata organization, Sanjay Mahavatta, says that as the activists of the Galface struggle, they will contest the all local government bodies in the upcoming polls. At a press briefing held in Colombo today, he said the Magen Ratata organization will make a wide alliance with trade unions and public organizations. Chairman of the Magen Ratata organization, Sanjay Mahavatta, said that all patriotic people in the country are demanding us to obtain the power of the democratic country through democratic means. Therefore, we will heed the call of the general public and get ready to build up a huge alliance to contest the election.
සියලුම සිවිල් සංවිධාන ඉදිරියේදී පැවැත්වෙන කුංචි මැතිවරණයට ඉදිරිපත් වීම සඳහා සූදානම් වෙන බව මෙයින් නිවේදනය කරනවා. මේ සඳහා සියලුම සිවිල් සංවිධාන අරගලයේදී එකතු වූ කණ්ඩායම් අරගලය හා සම්බන්ධ කණ්ඩායම් ඒ කණ්ඩායම් වල එකතුව කණ්ඩායම් 60කට වඩා වැඩි.
A panel of international economists and experts claim that all lenders must share the burden of restructuring pertaining to Sri Lanka with assurance of additional financing in the near term. A news report shared by The Guardian, a British news agency, has claimed that some of the world's most powerful hedge funds and other investors are holding up vital help for crisis-hit Sri Lanka by their hardline stance in debt relief negotiations.
According to a report compiled by 182 economists and development experts from around the world, extensive debt cancellation was needed to give the economy a chance of recovery, and that Sri Lanka would be a test case of the willingness of the international community to tackle a looming global debt crisis. The group, including Indian economist Jayati Ghosh, Thomas Piketty, the author of the best-selling book Capital, and Greece's former finance minister Yanis Varoufakis, said private sector creditors such as investment companies and hedge funds were preventing a deal. The statement issued by the experts have further indicated that debt negotiations in Sri Lanka are now at a crucial stage. Private creditors own almost 40% of Sri Lanka's external debt stocks, mostly in the form of international sovereign bonds. They have further said that with the higher interest rates levied on the bonds, private creditors receive more than 50% of external debt payments. The statement has said that such lenders charged a premium to lend to Sri Lanka to cover their risks, which accrued them massive profits and contributed to Sri Lanka's first ever default in April 2022. The experts have pointed out that lenders who benefited from higher returns due to the risk premium must be willing to take the consequences of that risk. Negotiations have been underway since an economic crisis forced the Sri Lankan government to default for the first time in the country's history. A loan from the International Monetary Fund will only be provided once the Washington-based organization is confident Sri Lanka's debts are sustainable. But the 182 economists fear the tough stance adopted by private creditors will result in a poor deal for Colombo. The statement by the 182 economists and development experts said that the country in Sri Lanka, or rather the crisis in Sri Lanka, will provide an important indicator of whether the world and the international finance system are equipped to deal with the increasingly urgent questions of sovereign debt relief and sustainability, and to ensure a modicum of justice in international debt negotiations. The government cabinet meeting was held this evening under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
The proposal of power tariff hike was also scheduled to be discussed at this meeting. However, the government sources said the decisions taken by the cabinet today will be made public at a press briefing to be held tomorrow. However, many parties expressed their views regarding the power tariff increase. Secretary to the Sri Lanka Nidahas Sevaka Sangamaya WAP Prabhat said that people of the country have faced many difficulties at this moment. If the electricity bill is to be increased, we will take huge actions against this decision. We have held ground-level talks in this regard. Convener of the Electricity Joint Trade Unions Forum, Ranjan Jalal, said that majority of cabinet ministers and parliamentarians have not paid their electricity bills. In such a situation, if the cabinet approved for the tariff hike, we will compulsorily take stern actions by tomorrow noon. Electricity Consumers Association today arrived at the Public Utilities Commission and handed over a petition. They walked to the Commission and the police objected to their walk. Venerable Omalpe Sobitathera and several others were present to hand over the petition. Meanwhile, in response to the request made by Venerable Omalpe Sobitathera, residents in Nochiagama area had switched off lights during the period from 6:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. State Finance Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya says that it is not permitted to disperse the pay while earned tax through the state institutions at a press briefing held in Ruanvalla area, the minister said. Special circular will be issued within this week suspending the disbursement of this tax by state institutions.
State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya said that since some state or semi-government institutions have made various service agreements during the past period, the relevant institutions had paid this tax. However, now that the situation has changed, any state or semi-government body cannot disburse the pay while earned tax at any circumstances. The Finance Ministry and the Treasury has taken necessary measures to stop paying this levy. Within the next few days, a clear circular is scheduled to be sent to the relevant institutions.
The government has decided to import 200,000 hybrid eggs. Aim of this decision is to ease the shortage of hens needed for egg production. The monthly need of eggs in the country is about 244 to 250 million eggs. However, only 30 million are produced locally. The reason for that is the shortage of poultry feed and mother birds. The annual need of egg-laying hens in the country is 80,000. This shortage has created problems in the production of eggs and chicken as well. If hens are imported, egg production is delayed for about 11 months. Therefore, the government has decided to import hybrid eggs as an alternative. The Minister of Agriculture says annual demand of eggs is about 2,990 million. The Livestock Department of the Agriculture Ministry says if the relevant stock of eggs is imported before February, the egg production in the country can be brought to higher level by May or June. The Canteen Owners Association says it is a mafia of egg wholesale traders since they have reduced the prices of eggs at a time the government has focused attention to import eggs. In line with the fluctuation of egg prices, many retail traders have been tempted to sell eggs without displaying the price.
Azusa Kubota presented her credentials today to Minister Ali Sabri, officially taking office as the new resident representative for the United Nations Development Programme in Sri Lanka. Prior to her appointment in Sri Lanka, new UNDP resident representative for Sri Lanka, Azusa Kubota, served as the resident representative at UNDP in Bhutan for 4 years. Before her tenure at UNDP in Bhutan, she served as the manager and head of office of UNDP in the Solomon Islands and the UN Joint Presence Manager for UNDP, UNICEF, UNFPA and UN Women. Kubota has also worked in UNDP in Malawi, and she has also worked for NGOs in Senegal, Lesotho and Washington, D.C. With close to 25 years of experience in international development, she has been instrumental in shaping policy and programming for development planning and evaluations, along with strategic partnerships. While presenting her credentials to the minister, she said that UNDP's new country program comes at a critical juncture when Sri Lanka is experiencing severe socio-economic hardships. UNDP will continue to support Sri Lanka's development efforts by pushing boundaries on interlinked and complex issues to drive transformational change, she added.
Conservator General of Forests KMA Bandara said that the media reports implying that Sri Lanka's forest cover has decreased to 16% are false. He said this in response to a query made regarding the media report on the instructions of President Secretary Saman Ekanayake as per a communique issued by the President's Media Division. The assessment of forest cover is carried out every 5 years, and the census conducted in 2020 is scheduled to be completed in June this year. According to the census conducted in 2015, the natural forests of Sri Lanka stood at 29.15%, which is 1,912,970 hectares of the total land extent. The Conservator General of Forests also said that although there has been some reduction in the amount of forests due to various development activities and other human activities in the country, there has definitely been no decrease in the amount of forests up to 16% as stated in the media reports. According to media reports, if the forest area in Sri Lanka is 16% of the total land extent, then the existing forest area in the country should be 1,040,000 hectares. This means that 872,970 hectares of forests should have been destroyed during the 7 years from 2015, which is 124,710 hectares per year and 341 hectares of forest destruction per day. He also stated that the Forest Department is updating forest maps and that no such forest destruction was observed during those activities, according to the PMD statement.
The stock of diesel donated by the Chinese government will be distributed free among the farmers from next Monday. At a press briefing held today, Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that 702,000 paddy farmers will be provided with diesel. The Chinese government has donated 10.6 million litres of diesel. Out of the amount, 6.8 million litres of fuel will be allocated for agricultural affairs. Farmers who cultivate lands extending half an acre to 2.5 acres are eligible to receive this fuel freely. Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that farmers will get a coupon from the relevant Agrarian Services Centre. They can give the coupon to the relevant filling station and obtain fuel. 5 suspects, including a Bulgarian national, have been arrested by the police in connection with the alleged incident of swindling money from the ATM machines in Gaul area. The suspects were taken into custody following the investigations conducted by Police Computer Crimes Division. 2 persons were arrested from Havelock Town area in Colombo yesterday. They are residents of Mount Lavinia and Negombo areas. After questioning them, police has been able to arrest the Bulgarian national. The main culprit of the fraud had attempted to flee from the country and was later taken into custody at the Katunayake airport premises. A vehicle and a driver have also been taken into custody in Pitikala area in connection with the fraud. The suspects have illegally taken over 10 million rupees from ATM machines in Baddegama, Hikkadua and Karapitiya areas.
Tower Hall Drama Festival 2023 commenced today. It will be held until the 24th of this month at the Tower and Elphinstone Halls in Colombo. This drama festival has been organized to revitalize Sri Lankan theatre. The dramas will be staged daily at 3:30 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. The drama titled Mahatma at Gandhi.com was staged today at the Tower Hall, while the Sindhukara Kavinaluwa was played at the Elphinstone Theatre.
Wholesale and retail traders at the Ratmalana Special Economic Centre accused that they face immense difficulties due to the non-commencement of proper renovations. The economic centre received stocks of vegetables from various places.
However, there's no proper facilities to store and keep them safely. During the rainy season, many areas in the economic centre go underwater. Therefore, vegetables and fruits are subjected to decay. The traders say that rainwater leaks from the roof of some trade stalls. Some items, including potatoes and onions, perish quickly due to this situation. Some traders say that they have to bear huge amounts of losses due to this situation. As rainwater accumulates in the economic centre premises, both customers and traders meet with accidents. Although the traders have paid monthly rental regularly, authorities have not focused attention to renovate the trade stalls. Welcome back, and in your foreign news tonight, world leaders condemned yesterday's riots in the Brazilian capital, which saw supporters of former far-right leader Jair Bolsonaro storming key government sites.
Thousands of protesters ransacked the Brazil Congress building, with some breaking into the Senate chamber as well as the presidential palace and the Supreme Court in Brasilia. Jair Bolsonaro lost the presidential election to left-wing Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva in October after sowing unsubstantiated claims about voting systems. The siege, which lasted over 3 hours, came only a week after the inauguration of Bolsonaro's leftist rival, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Many of his supporters refused to accept the result, and after the riots, President Lula blamed the former president for encouraging such acts. Former President Bolsonaro responded by rejecting the accusation. Bolsonaro, who has yet to concede defeat in the October 30th vote and is currently in the US state of Florida, has peddled the false claim that Brazil's electronic voting system was prone to fraud, helping to fuel protests against Lula's win. Hundreds of people have been arrested, and the governor of Brasilia has been suspended for security failings. Security forces used tear gas in an effort to push back the demonstrators, with local media estimating about 3,000 people being involved in the incident. Responding to the invasion, Lula declared a federal security intervention in Brasilia that will remain in place until the end of the month. Western Australia has been experiencing heavy rain, causing communities to be stranded and leaving hundreds of people in need of evacuation.
The Australian authorities have claimed that it was the worst flooding Western Australia has had in its history. The crisis in the Kimberley, a sparsely populated area in Western Australia state about the size of California, was sparked last week by severe weather system Ellie, a former tropical cyclone that brought heavy rain. In some parts, the authorities said that the floodwaters stretched for 50 kilometers with inundation as far as the eye can see.
Parts of northern India are experiencing a severe prolonged cold wave that has thrown normal life out of gear. The minimum temperature in parts of the city dropped to 1.9 Celsius yesterday. Dense fog has delayed more than 100 flights and dozens of trains, causing chaos at airports and railway stations. Authorities in the capital, Delhi, have asked schools to extend winter holidays and cancelled classes. Other northern states have also been grappling with an acute cold wave, with temperatures plummeting to -6 Celsius in Indian-administered Kashmir.
The British government decides to ban single-use items including plastic cutlery, plates and trays in England. Authorities have claimed that the move would help protect the environment for future generations. The decision follows similar moves already made by Scotland and Wales to ban plastic items. Government figures suggest that 1.1 billion single-use plates and more than 4 billion pieces of plastic cutlery are used in England every year. Plastic waste often does not decompose and can last in landfill for many years. Although it might be useful in terms of food hygiene, it can also end up as litter, in turn polluting soil and water. Each person in England uses an average of 18 single-use plastic plates and 37 items of plastic cutlery every year, while only 10% of those are recycled. Campaigners in the UK welcomed the ban but called for a wider-ranging plastic reduction strategy.
China launched the Series 1 Y-5 rocket carrier, or rather carrier rocket, from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China today. The commercial rocket blasted off this afternoon from the launch site, sending 5 satellites into the planned orbit. The 5 satellites include the Tianqi 13 satellite belonging to the Tianqi constellation, 2 satellites belonging to the Tianmu-1 meteorological constellation, and the other 2 for Earth observation and space science popularization respectively. Developed by the Beijing-based high-tech company Galactic Energy, the Series 1 is a small-scale solid propellant carrier rocket capable of sending microsatellites into orbit. The launch was the 5th flight mission of the Series 1 rocket series.
And in your sports news tonight, the 3 one-day international series between Sri Lanka and India is set to begin tomorrow. The first match will be played in Guwahati.
India managed to clinch the T20 series played against Sri Lanka 2 games to 1. Both the nations have met 162 times in the one-day internationals, and India has won 93 matches while Sri Lanka has only won 57. Tomorrow's match will be played at Guwahati Stadium, and so far only 1 match has been played at the grounds. Both sides have contested in 10 bilateral tournaments in India, and India has won 9 series thus far. Captain Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul have been recalled to the squad for the upcoming series. However, the Indian selection committee opted today to pull out Indian pacer Jasprit Bumrah from the series. The first match between Sri Lanka and India will begin at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow.
And in other sports news, Sri Lanka Army secured the National Judo Championship in both men's and women's senior categories. The tournament was held at the Jayatilaka Indoor Stadium in Navalapitiya.
The tournament was held for the 59th occasion. Over 350 athletes representing 34 sports clubs contested in the 3-day tournament. The matches were played under junior and senior categories. Gampola Vikramabahu Sports Club won both men and women's junior categories. Sri Lanka Army secured the men's senior category championship with 54 points. Sri Lanka Air Force became the runners-up while Sri Lanka Navy became the third. Sri Lanka Army won the women's senior category championship with 33.5 points. Sri Lanka Air Force won the second place while Sri Lanka Navy came in third. The most outstanding men's player of the tournament was Chamara Nuwan Gunawardena. He had previously represented Sri Lanka at the Olympics. Kalpani Jayavira of Sri Lanka Air Force won the most outstanding women's player of the tournament. The championship was organized by the Sri Lanka Judo Association.
And with that, we conclude tonight's English news on Rupavahini. We'll see you tomorrow at the very same time. Good night.
Good night.